So how did governments around the world get rid of inflation in the 70s? So in the 70s, inflation blew up as we left the Bretton Woods system in 1971 and basically moved to an entire fiat system no longer backed by gold. That meant all money was fake, and it has been since then. And printing explosion, everyone printing money, inflation going up. Now at that time, what was the main factor? Why did no one really suffer from inflation, neither in the US or the UK or anywhere? Everyone had inflation-linked wages. So inflation goes up 10%, you get 10% higher wages. 20%, you get 20%. Didn't really affect most people. Those businesses that didn't just pumped up their prices 20%, it really didn't affect people too much. That's why we didn't see an increase in poverty. We didn't see really an increase in inequality either. Everything pretty much went up in tandem, and so that was why they tried to make out a really bad period. It was quite a benign period for people. So what did they do to try and kill it? In the end, they try and pretend and tell you Paul Volcker, he hiked interest rates and that stopped the inflation. That is an abject lie. What really happened was in 1980, the US and the UK as well changed their inflation method. They changed the way they recorded CPI. So instead of it being 17%, it went down to 15% because it's a totally rigged number, a totally fake number. Well, that means the wages only go up 15%. And the main problem at that time was a wage price spiral. As wages goes up, prices go up. Wages goes up, prices go up. So now when you rigged inflation and you said it's only gone up 15%, not the real 17%, well then wages only go up 15%. But if you do that, what will happen? Your rigged number will go down to 10%, and then wages is 10%, and that's how it went. So very good, but essentially what are you doing there? You're stealing from people because their wages have not kept up with inflation. That's the problem. It's a lie. So with a lie, someone has to suffer. And that was people around the world. And so living standards since the 1980s have gone down for everyone. Inequality has gone through the roof. The peak of basically humanity was 1980. And since then, due to the lying statistics they've been producing, and they've kept revising it. So they've made this CPI even worse every time. They did another revision in 1990. In the UK, it was RPI, Retail Price Index, which included mortgages. They got rid of that in 1997 and then moved to CPI. And then they showed a boom from 1997. The UK boomed till 2008. Why? Because you faked, you robbed people through stealing, right? They also excluded all housing, so that means assets could go through the roof and it would not be reflected in inflation data. And that's how they did it. That's how they lied to you. So that is what they're doing now at the moment. They're continuing their lies, saying CPI is under control in the US 3.1%, in the UK 4%, when everyone knows it's much higher. They cannot get those wages through because they're being compared to CPI, and therefore people's living standards are going down. And when people's living standards go down, they spend less in an economy. When they spend less, the economy goes into recession, regardless of what you lie about on the statistics. So that is what's happened. That is how they've done it. And they keep revising the CPI, making it more and more and more fictitious. There's now CPI-H, which is used. It's just absolute craziness what they've done. They just basically, they might as well just say inflation is 2% forever, and that's it. It never goes up, never goes down. It's just 2%. Maybe it goes to 3%. That's basically it. This is where we are. So we can't believe the statistics out there. They've been robbing us for years because of that. And the sad thing is, when you look at the journalists, they report this. They say, moving from RPI. I remember it. We moved from RPI to CPI. That's clearly, a lie. But then that's it. After that, they just go ahead with it. Oh, so inflation today was up. It was down 0.5%. Oh, it's only 2%. They just go, they forget what they don't keep mentioning the lies going on. Same as the unemployment data, fake. GDP data, totally fake. Because you don't include per capita. GDP should only be measured per capita. What do I care about a total GDP figure? It's an irrelevant number. If it's not per capita, it's irrelevant. because then you're saying how much total wealth per person. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter the total, I import all of China, right? But my GDP's gone up 1%. What does it matter? Everyone's become much, much poorer. So it's irrelevant. So this is how they do it: lies and statistics, and lies and statistics, and it's been going on, since Roman times they used to do it. But I'm saying nowadays it's at very high levels, and that's how they rob for you and me, and we have to be aware of it and not trust anything they say. Your judgment of how you feel when you go to the grocery store or to the pump, and you want to buy a house, that is the reality. Everything else is just conjecture.